Now that we've done our color work, we've done our cleanup, we did a little bit of dodge and burn, not too much. Like I said, this image was in a really good place. I'm happy with everything I'm looking at right now. And I'd really like to get this product on the right size background, because as you remember, we cropped in quite a ways just to simplify our canvas a little bit, keep our file size down. But the final intention for this image is going to be on an 11 by 14. And rather than change my canvas, mess up all my masks, which is always what happens when you change a canvas size, and it'll also kind of play with the frequency separations a little bit in ways that you don't want it to. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to transfer this image to the end canvas, which will be, like I said, 1114 without a background. I know it's going to be going on black. And I'm going to do it in kind of a fancy way that allows me to update the canvas placed image as needed with as little effort as possible and without, like I said, changing this composite and composition that I just completed. All right, so let me show you how to get this image onto our final canvas. What I'm going to do is make sure I'm all clean. I'm going to keep some layers that I don't necessarily need. It's no big deal. I am going to turn off my background because I don't want to worry about there being any edges when I put this thing on 11 by 14 canvas. And I am going to check just to make sure by some strange coincidence that my canvas wasn't cropped to 11 by 14. It's not, it's at 1116. And that's fine. It could be really tiny, doesn't matter. I am seeing a bit of this, and that is because I need to rearrange my layers slightly. I'm going to get rid of my solarization curve, and this is all part of the process. So, you know, it's all about organization and maintaining an integrity so that you don't have little things like this when you do ship it off to a client, because maybe they want your product on transparency so they can modify the background just slightly. So to get rid of this area up here, I'm actually going to group up my frequency separations. Gonna call it FQ just like I had before. I'm now gonna call this bottle on black, boodle, bottle, black. Doesn't need to be, I like it to be. Now I'm gonna just toss my color correction in there and my top is fixed. What I'm going to do now is save, saving as a PSD. It's under 4 gigs, so it doesn't need a PSB. Wait for that to save, give it a second. Now I'm going to create a new canvas. Going to make it the right size, which is 1114. I think we'll keep it at 300 DPI because it will be for print. Go to 8-bit, that's where I'm working. Make sure your color profile is aligned with your document profile for your new canvas, which is Adobe RGB. We're going to click OK, and we are going to add another solid color layer. Sometimes you can just fill the background. I like making solid color layers because it's really easy to change. And when other people pick up your files, it's a good habit for them to develop as well. Next is the fun part. We are going to go over to Bridge. We are going to go to our working folder, Stumpy's on black. I've got my original process PSDs still here. They're fine, they're loose. I might clean them up later, but for now, we're gonna take our working file, which is Stumpy Black PSD. Something's not quite looking right. There it is, just wanna make sure I've saved. I have. Bridge just hasn't updated yet. There it goes. And what we're going to do is just take Stumpy Black and we're going to bring it into our new canvas as a linked smart object. And we're doing that so that as we update our file with any changes that are going to be coming, we're going to have a working copy on our canvas that will update automatically. And we don't need to worry about saving and exporting and blah, 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 change a canvas with crop, all that sort of junk. The way I do this is there's two different ways. One way I like to do from Bridge, hold down the Option key and drag it onto your canvas. Wait a second, and it's gonna pop right down. This preference hasn't been set up right, so it's actually coming in at 82.6% because there's a preference to change so that it scales it to fit the canvas as you bring it in. I don't need that for right now. I'll change the preference a little bit later. For now, we're going to scale this up to 100%. And I think that's a little bit too big for the canvas. We don't need to max it out. We want it to fit comfortably within our edges. I'm going to click OK for now, get to full screen so I can see what's going on, and just nudge this into place. I'm centered almost. It's hard to tell if I'm centered or not. I would really need to drag some rulers out and center them up on the bottle. So center will be 5.5. Almost there. All right, so I'm centered on my vertical axis. Horizontal axis doesn't matter. I find a lot of photographers like to kind of sit the product a little bit lower on the canvas instead of dead center. Dead center feels like it's high. And that's it. I think that's looking really well balanced on 11x14. What I have now is a linked smart object. And what this means is when I double click the smart object, it's going to open up my previously working file, and I can go in, edit it, for instance, save it, go back up to my working canvas, and this smart object's gonna update automatically with the changes that I just made to the original PSD. Undo, redo, and you can see how it's changing automatically. So go back to where I left it, come back here, turn my color layers back on, save again, go back to my placed smart object, linked smart object, and get my changes updated once more. And I mentioned that there were two ways to get your linked smart object onto the canvas. One is to option drag from Bridge. The other is in the File menu. Go File, Place Linked, find where your PSD is that you want to place it. Same process that we just walked through. As I mentioned earlier today, I really love using Bridge. It's just visual. I don't have to peck around through my folders. I can just see the file, drag and drop, and it's done. You can also do multiple drags. We'll go into all linked smart object workflow later on. I'll keep using it. You'll keep seeing how it works. I'll point out new little facts, tricks, that sort of thing. But for now, let's just drop that down onto our black. We're going to save. I'm just going to call it same as my file name, but I will call it 11x14 just so I know what it is. Save it to the same folder. And now we're ready to make a TIFF and send off to Rob.